Peter Iglesias here, the host of Men on a Mission podcast. Excited to be here today. We got a great show. As you can see, we're not in the podcast studio today. We're at Freakin Fitness in Weston, Florida. This is our gym. And today's show is going to be awesome. I got a panel of great guys. I'll introduce them to you in a second. But we're going to talk today a lot about community and what it means to not just men, but everybody who walks into a gym or joins a team sport or goes to school, takes classes and does things. So ultimately, we want to kind of identify how important a community is and the people that you surround yourself with. So with that said, I'm excited to get started here. Why don't you guys introduce yourself? Go ahead, Logan.
My name is Logan Kaufman, one of the owners of Freakin Fitness Weston.
I'm Patrick Neeley. I'm a member here at Freakin Fitness Weston.
Amar Ravi. I'm a member here at Freakin Fitness Weston. Been here for 4 years.
And Storm Kaufman, Logan's brother, also co-owner of Freakin Fitness.
So, guys, again, it's awesome to have you here today. Really wanted to kind of start this thing off by asking a couple of you guys, what does community in this gym mean to you? And I'd like to do a member first, and then one of the owners can jump in. Yeah, so, Mari, what does it mean to you, man?
For me, the community, it's all about the people that are both members in the gym classes as well as the owners.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a member here at Freakin Fitness for 4 years.
Okay.
Moved here from California. This is one of the first gym and kind of community places that I became a member of after my family and I moved here. And it was my very first time doing group exercises and joining a group class sort of format.
Mm-hmm.
And so over time have really built a strong network of friends and associates here.
So what do you think the difference really is between just working out on the gym side and then working out in group class? Do you find yourself more motivated in one or the other?
Yeah, definitely. I would say in the group classes, and I've never done group classes before, and I never thought that I'd be the kind of person that'd be interested in doing group classes. It has pushed me way farther than I ever thought possible.
Mm-hmm.
Doing group classes, because you're just around people that you kind of start looking at as, maybe helping to set goals for you from a fitness perspective and that kind of thing. I think having coaching in the group classes has taught me a ton about proper form, about doing different sorts of exercises and movements that I never thought I'd be able to do before. When I used to be a member of a gym, a traditional gym in the past,
Very
chain gyms and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was just over on the regular workout side, not really joining any sort of gym classes. You kind of have a lot of cliques forming, people that might be friends going to the gym and that kind of thing. Never got a chance to really meet people.
Mm-hmm.
So the group experience, in my opinion, has been just sort of a game changer.
That's awesome.
Both socially and physically.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like when I take the classes, not with Logan, but no, I'm just kidding. No, when I take the classes, there is a sense of camaraderie, and nobody lets you, if you're like a level 1 versus a level 5 person, like everybody comes around that level 1 person and helps. And great coaching between Storm and Logan. And Logan, why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
On the community side?
Yeah. What do you see from your standpoint that is so important about a community in this gym, and how it's helping people, not just the average guy who walks in here, but even the athletes, even all the women that come here? A lot of women come to this gym, and how that community kind of brings everybody together and makes this universe of Freakin Fitness as fun as it is and as healthy as it is.
I think I realized, especially this year, the community aspect is very different for every single person that walks in the door. Some people take the community aspect and it's a way for them to continuously come back in, right? For other people, they're going through such a hard time that I'm trying to find a community because I need help from our last conversation that we had in our podcast, right? So understanding that the community is very different for each individual person that's walking on in. And at least for me as a coach, and what Storm and I try to do with the rest of our coaches, is helping people find like-minded people they're able to work out with and develop a relationship with. I don't know if I answered that question too well.
Well, I guess just to kind of piggyback on that, do you see this community, and I already know the answer to this, But the community inside the gym, do you see it going outside of the gym? Like, are members spending time together outside of the gym after a workout or on the weekend?
Oh my gosh, that's what I love so much.
Yeah.
Yes. When you have that community aspect and everyone is able to talk with each other, you develop that relationship. Seeing them being able to go outside the gym to either go to a coffee shop or they have their Friendsgiving, Galentine's that I just learned about. That definitely makes me happy, especially when there's certain people that came into gym super quiet, shy, in the corner, and then a month later, now they have friends and they feel a part of a community, a place that they live every single day.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And the reason why we're doing this podcast on this topic is I think it community translates to not just the places you're doing it in, or having community in, like a gym, but outside. And it also, like you said, like-minded people. You go and have dinner with 6 people from the gym, you're laughing, having a good time. You guys are all healthy people. You're probably not drinking too much alcohol, and you're having great conversation. And I think for men, community is paramount. I think if you don't have surrounding friends that you can kind of spend time with, some people have spouses, some people have girlfriends, that kind of thing. But having that opportunity to kind of spend time with people within your little circle is really important to me. What do you think?
Well, I met these guys 14 years ago.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
It's getting close to that.
When they were 16?
Yeah, I think he had hair, right?
I don't think I had a beard either.
We, you guys had started just, we're sort of not fresh off the farm, but pretty shortly after that. And I was in a weird place in my life because I was a single dad, and coming out of the military, I hadn't really figured out a way that I could work out in a way that kind of worked for me. Because going into the gym was just not something that I could really do on a consistent basis anymore. And then we happened to hire an intern who was a member, and he says, "You got to come check out. I had done CrossFit while I was still active duty. He said, you got to come check these guys out." And so I showed up, and I needed to work out because it's cathartic. That time where the only thing you really have to worry about is the next rep and not dying. You get a chance to commune with dead relatives. It's great. It feels good. And so I needed that. But I didn't have it in my life. And so I meet them. And my biggest concern was somebody who's going to push me to just put more weight on. Just go, because I needed more than that. And these guys were that. Their entire family, they genuinely cared the moment that I walked in. They made, we were talking about this before we started the podcast. They made changes for me. They started a childcare for my daughter. Wow. So when I had my very young daughter now, who just turned 15, I didn't have anybody to help take care of her, so they did that for me.
Wow.
And anyway, in the workout itself, I think lends more towards a group atmosphere and a community, because you have the standards. So men of all fitness levels and women of all fitness levels can actually come and do the same workout together at the same time. And so you naturally get people going like, "Come on, man, let's go." And people you've never talked to or never met really are on the other side of the gym, and you finish that lift and they're going. And so that it feels good. You know what I mean?
I find when we do the group class on Saturdays and we have to go run outside and carry heavy dumbbells and stuff, that's where I get really close to my partner. I'm like, you really need to carry this, man.
I really need to do 2 laps
workload.
It's way too big. I promise we can be best friends. No. But yeah, I think great points, man. All of them is,
Can I ask a question? What kept you consistent all these years?
Well, there's probably a lot of levels to that for me. I found I've kind of discovered in myself, I built, especially at that time, my entire universe was like one of 5 places. I was either at home, I was either at work, I was at the gym, or I was at one of 2 places that I would like go shopping. And I didn't change my schedule largely because I was hurting and I needed help, and I didn't necessarily know how to ask for it. So I just the way that I managed it for myself was to build structure in my life. And I just put up walls. And when I came in with you guys, I had real community. It was not, when people don't care, you're like, that person's full of it and you're going to stop showing up. But like, your mom talked to me and she made it a point to be like, how you doing? And so it was more than just a really good workout. So it was cathartic, so it felt good, but it was also more, I felt like I had people around me that cared. And I still feel that way. And also, I have always enjoyed watching you guys grow and do well and continue to bring more people into the community. And so I'll be a part of that as long as I can. Love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great answer, man. So, I mean, for those of you watching this podcast for the first time, what Men on the Mission podcast does, we really focus on men's overall health. Whether it's spiritual health, whether it's emotional health, whether it's physical health, financial, relational, any of those things, we kind of touch on everything in that. And knowing that, I'd like to hear from each of you, like being on this podcast, some of you for the first time, but what does it mean to you guys to share this kind of information to people out there? We're talking to the world right now, guys, on the internet. What does that mean to you? And, obviously it's important to you guys because you're here, but, what are your hopes by doing these kind of things? What are your hopes to see in the future here?
So I'll jump in here. Like, thank you for actually putting this type of podcast together. Like, this is something that has kind of coming to like a pinnacle with our business, what we've always promoted, which is supporting one another. And being able to actually broadcast this out to a large audience is great, because I think that's something that's been either getting degraded or lacking, is us supporting each other.
Yeah.
And being able to show that there is other ways that we can support each other, get a new friend, right? Like this guy. I would have never made these connections, friendships, business relationships without honestly being within a gym, which we talked about last time.
Yeah.
And it's just another community focal point that we can now express to the world. Like, guys, this is another way that like you can regain connections, or rebuild yourself.
Yeah.
Whether it's in your hometown, a new town that you moved to. So I think this is an awesome opportunity for us to keep on going with this.
Great, man. Awesome. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, one of the most important aspects of being a member of this gym is it's allowed me to establish kind of goals and milestones in my life that I can work towards. I think Patrick was mentioning a little bit earlier, at least for me, when we moved here from California about 4 years ago, we moved during the pandemic and all that, or 5 years ago, I should say, we moved during the pandemic.
Good
for
move.
My kids, and it worked out really well for us. I was very lucky. My wife and I were able to work remotely and all that kind of stuff. But we moved here without any sort of family, and for 2 years during the pandemic in California, like a lot of my kids had lost connection with their friends. We had lost connection with a lot of our friends just by nature of the circumstances of the situation. When we moved out here to Florida, I was stressed with work, wife stressed with work, stressed with the move. My kids were in a little bit of a funk socially. We just had to sort of like reset and reestablish ourselves in a new place. And having this gym environment, having this community helped kind of reestablish like very, how should I describe it? Like very practical but achievable milestones that we could just sort of like work, or at least for me, I could work towards in kind of a controlled environment, meet new people, meet Logan and Storm, who are just amazing individuals, and kind of help not only build like my fitness journey, but also just help reestablish my social network here as well. And I think that's been, at least for me, like critical in helping to manage my mental health and my sense of purpose.
Yeah, agreed. I could, for myself, it definitely created a new foundational piece of like people like-minded in my life, being a part of this community. And I think that was super critical in my life, because I've told my story before. I was at a crossroads a few years ago, lots of changes, kids growing up, back injury, back surgery, mother sick, breakup, all these things happen at once. And this was my sanctuary. So I would come here and I would just dive into the work. And, there was a sense of peace every time I walked out of this gym. And it wasn't just the exercising, it was the people around me. Half the people didn't know what was going on in my life at the time, because as a man, we talk about this all the time. We rub dirt on it when it hurts. We don't talk about our feelings. And I think people don't even realize the interaction that they had with me, even without knowing all of the tough things that I was going through. It meant a lot to me. I felt it. I felt the authenticity of these connections and these relationships. And I think, anybody with a gym, that's the key to success, in my opinion. Like having a strong community that is aligned on a lot of the core values, which are right behind us, and that they want to help. They want to be part of something nice and loving and caring and so forth like that. What do you think?
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, I think, most men are built to be active in some way and to kind of control what we can control,
Mm-hmm.
and to sort of mitigate or kind of deal with the things that we can't. And in that, we talked about it a little bit. I don't think necessarily that many of us are really waiting on somebody to swoop in and save us.
Mm-hmm.
But in that, you lose a little bit the fact that it is hard.
Yeah.
And it is difficult, and it is hard on you mentally and physically and spiritually. And sometimes, especially at men, as we start to get a little bit older, you can feel lost.
Mm-hmm.
You get caught up in your value being what you can produce.
Exactly.
Now, what happens when you can't, either your kids are out and you're not producing as much, and it kind of leaves you in a place of like,
Mm-hmm.
well, who am I and what can I do? And so you go back to what can I control?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think the gym is amazing, because fitness is so much more than physical. But if you're lost and you're not sure where to start with fitness.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great
Come in here and run
foundation.
and throw some weights around and meet some good people. And then all of a sudden these other things, the emotional, the spiritual, these things all just start to happen by osmosis,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, one thing I wanted to, sometimes I look at the workouts as almost like a metaphor for some of the things I'm dealing with personally in my life.
love that.
Because like you said, men have a really hard time expressing emotions often, or they don't want to talk about problems that they're facing.
Mhm.
But sometimes, like for example, for me, if I'm dealing with something really challenging at work or at home, I look at almost the workouts as a metaphor for like, what are the things that I need to do in order to like solve this problem?
Mm-hmm.
If you think about like your fitness journey or achieving certain milestones or achieving certain fitness standards, it's all about showing up consistently, scaling when appropriate, or scaling based on when you maybe face limitations, chipping away consistently to try to achieve that goal, pacing yourself, like all these sorts of things that you're taught in the gym sort of workout environment are
Mhm.
things that you also need to apply in your personal life as well,
Mhm.
in order to achieve certain outcomes, whether it's in your career and relationships. And so I've found the gym environment, group workout exercise environment, almost like a metaphor for life.
Yeah.
Like a lot of lessons I learned here, I'm able to apply and translate into
Mhm.
other aspects of my life, which is,
Yeah.
for me, pretty amazing. 'Cause it's almost like,
Yeah.
okay, it's providing me with a little bit of that, like, it's a training ground really
Yeah.
for a lot of
Provided
different
a
things.
very different outlook. I've never heard that before.
I think the gym is one place you can't lie to
Yeah.
that mirror, man.
It's,
You can't lie to that mirror because
Yeah.
like you can look at yourself, man, and you can work out really hard. And trust me, you pointed it out to me many times, Logan. So, so if you slack, you can't expect to get the results that you're looking for. So it is like, the gym is like the most honest place. Like you get what you put into this, man. And I think that community that inspires you to do that? Because there is a bit of competitiveness. I mean, I would imagine we have competitive athletes.
Definitely.
You know, I mean, not me. But
A little bit.
I feel like all men are competitive,
You
and
get a
whether
coach.
you want to admit it or not, in some aspect.
And even if you're not the one competing, there's probably somebody else looking at
Oh,
you
yeah.
and competing against you.
I think it's such an interesting way of thinking about it, because for me, I feel like a lot of times the WOD and the gym is the place where I can take all of my business and my clients and my family and my kids and all the stuff that I'm thinking about, and I can just turn it off for an hour. And for me, and like all I have to do is just try to finish the next 5 reps and not meet Jesus.
Yep.
Like I have 2 major goals.
It's not a bad thing.
And if I can do both of those things, then I win. But I almost find myself actively not thinking about any of that.
No, honestly, even it's the same for me. Like I use it as a way to kind of, like you said, escape maybe your day-to-day routine, because you can't focus on if you're living heavy weight, you can't focus on anything else except lifting that heavy weight. And so you really have to be in the moment, focus on that one thing.
Yeah.
But then after for me at least, when I'm finished a workout or whatever, I start thinking to myself, like, if I could achieve that in that moment of 40 minutes of pain and hell and sweat and everything else, I can go back to the office and do this other thing that maybe felt overwhelming, but now it feels achievable.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. One of my fitness experiences is that me personally is going through life over 16 years. We've had our ups and downs. Business has ups and downs. But when I worked out, I can kind of clear all that.
Yep.
But in a hard workout is actually where I had the best clarity afterwards to move forward. Because in my mindset, I always said, if I can take it, I can make it.
Mhm.
And I only though focus on the workout. It's like, if I can push myself through the workout, not give up, okay, literally work to the last second, whether I'm going to finish the workout or not.
Yeah.
If I could take the pain and the grind, okay, I can make it in life on everything else.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, and I also wanted to always bring that, and I know people are also thinking that in their own ways.
Yeah.
Okay, taking it to their life, but they're focused on something that's common ground that a coach can relate to you, your friend next to you can relate to you, something you can talk about with another male, okay, after your workout.
Yep.
So that's been my camaraderie aspect as mental health. Like I can see that, and because I do it for myself, I know it's there for everybody else also to tap into.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because when I come to the gym now, it's a fun thing. Whereas in the beginning, it was a little scary, a little uncomfortable, and allowing the community to embrace me was fantastic. And you had a lot to do with it, and so do you. I mean, and frankly speaking, we have a lot of nice people here, and that's a beautiful thing. But from for me, I think everything starts with your physical health. I truly believe, you guys, that foundational piece of physical health leads to healthy spiritual lives, healthy emotional lives, healthy relationships. Like, because you are working at something and you're trying to stay healthy and fit. And when you're fit, you're thinking clearer. I think you're making better decisions about what you're eating, where you're going, who you're talking to. I really believe that. I mean, would you agree with that, Logan? Yeah.
Since all of us, and we're all different ages here, and we have a lot of ups and downs emotionally and also physically when I'm talking about weight gain and stuff like that, since the 3 of you guys have all transformed your lives, I would love if we get the message out here, because for all coaches, when you have a class going on and someone comes walking through the door, and let's just say it's the class where the majority of the class all look like very fit individuals.
Yeah.
We sometimes have to try to convey a message that these people didn't look like this. Amar didn't look like this when he walked in the door. You walked in for a very clear reason of something you wanted to fix.
Yes.
What would be the message you would give the next person that went through your situation to walk in the door? And what would be your motivation to be like, hey, we all started somewhere.
Yeah.
The people that you see in this gym, weren't like this before. We've all transformed our lives, and Neeley too, and Peter. Like, what would that be? What would be that motivation that you would really want to tell people? Be like, hey, here's where I was, here I am now.
Yeah.
And here's your encouragement.
So when I first joined this gym, I was literally looking for a gym, and I was willing to join like 24-hour fitness, LA, whatever was closest to my house was because I didn't know what CrossFit was. I didn't know what any of these sorts of high rocks. I didn't know what any of these things were. And so this gym was just by proximity, the closest gym to my house. So I walked in, and exactly what Logan said, everyone was jacked, ripped, throwing around iron. It was loud. The music was playing. I was like, I don't think this is the right environment for me. I was thinking that in the back of my mind.
Good job, Logan.
So I talked to Coach Eddie, who was the first person who texted me when I inquired about the gym. He's like, just come and check it out at 2 p.m. in the middle of the day, and I'm going to walk you around and show you what the gym environment's like. Came in, I met Coach Eddie. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's jacked as well. Like, this is not the right place for me. But then he was talking to me, he's like, listen, anybody can do these workouts. He explained to me the whole principles and philosophy behind the Freakin Fitness WODs and Rib Fit and the different types of workouts. And he's like, anybody can get on the ladder, and no matter how advanced or how novice you are, there's always a place for you. So I was like, okay, let me try it out. Came to a couple of classes, and honestly, for me, it took me, I would say, like 2 or 3 weeks, where I just told myself, you know what, I had a goal in my own personal mind where I had certain weight loss that I wanted to achieve. Let me just try to stick it out and make it through this gym experience for a couple of weeks and see how these classes go. And then I'll decide what I want to do in the long run. And for me, it was like just tracking my goal, tracking my metrics in Sugar WOD and some of the apps, talking to my neighbor next to me, watching how they're performing. And then I started getting a little bit competitive. I was like, I want to lift more weight than that guy. And then it just sort of snowballed upon that.
Then I broke my shoulder.
And then I broke my shoulder. And then I got injured. But then the coaching also is helpful because you start building a little bit of an emotional connection to the coaches as well, because they're helping you out. You start like building that camaraderie. That's just what kept me coming. And then I started saying, okay, now I've lost 10 pounds. Now I want to be able to achieve X% body fat. Now I want to do this other thing. And it just snowballs from there.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, I think, when I went through my transformation, coming off of back surgery and not being able to work out consistently for years because of my back. And then, the story, I walked in here, was it like 3 days after surgery, right? And you're just like, what in the world are you doing here?
Get out the door.
Get out the door. I'm like, I just want to walk on the treadmill, man.
Go get approved by your doctor. My doctor said no.
I'm like, I'll sign anything. I won't sue you, man. Yeah. But, it's funny going through that whole experience for me. It changed my life forever, man. Like, because when you lose your health and you wake up every day for like 3 or 4 years, not being able to physically do what you want to do, it becomes your new reality, and it's a little scary, man. Like, and you're just, is this it? Am I ever going to be able to run again? Am I ever going to be able to do squats again? Am I ever going to be able to do things that I used to do? And I was at that place before I had surgery, and coming off the surgery and coming in here and then losing 40 pounds and doing all the things I did, and then you posted a story on Instagram. I cannot even tell you how many people walked up to me and just were like, because there's the before and after picture, and and it inspired them, and I think a big part of community is telling our stories. This is why I do this podcast, you guys. I think people need to hear our stories and understand that they're not alone in what they're experiencing. So whether they're injured or whether they're going through a divorce or whether their business is collapsing, there is a space for people to come and be part of a community. And I think for me, that is, I have learned in 54 years of being a businessman, not all 54, but like 34. You kind of just think, okay, I can do this thing alone. And I made that mistake for a long time until it was me being able to lean on teammates and people that I hire to do a job specifically and do it well. And I think that's what you guys do in your gym. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say this experience also taught me the importance of coaching. like how important it is to, and after working with Logan and Storm and other coaches here, I've started working with coaches in other aspects of my life as well. Because I'm like, you save so much time and gain so much with a good coach versus trying to do things on your own. And it's just like your progress and your ability to achieve goals 10x's with a good coach. And
I agree.
I think this environment taught me the importance of working with a really good coach.
Do you guys think it's easier by being surrounded by fit people that like it becomes contagious, that you, once you get into your routine, you stay with it because you're also surrounded by a bunch of people that are doing the same thing?
100%.
Yeah.
If your only history is working in like a normal gym and working out just on the gym side, you know what happens when you lift with somebody who's stronger than you. They put a little more weight on there, and then it pushes you. And you see it in group runs as well, right?
I see it. I do it with the runs all the time.
When you start running,
I'm like, if
it's
she's
just
doing
you,
it, I gotta do
it.
There's
I
no
gotta
way
keep
I'm
up.
stopping. I will die before I stop.
Yes.
You know, it's like
yeah.
that's that man pride thing. You know, shit. I'm working on that.
Little motivation.
Yeah.
Little motivation.
Dude, so-
Well, and then you also get every now and then you get a coach that says, "Okay, pick it up." You know, and I always try to use humor to kind of break the ice a little bit with people. You know, and you
It's his
know,
favorite
pick
thing,
it
by the
up,
way.
and I'm like, "Hey, they need you over there." On that
Versus
side,
struggling on that
facing
side,
in
yeah.
that direction, they're, you know, but it's maybe that metaphor for life is somebody that walks up and says, "Hey, pick it up."
Yeah.
Pick it up.
You know,
Peter,
And also, yeah.
But
I want to know from you,
Mhm.
what was, because you physically completely changed after spine surgery.
Mhm.
What kept you this way? What changed you to be so, basically, you anti-age yourself so much?
Thanks. There's a really crazy story about that, and I remember before I had surgery, I went and got stem cells in my spine. I left the country. I did that. There was some healing, but the pain just got so bad. Like I was sleeping on the floor, wood floors with my legs on the couch, you know, up on the couch, and the pain was just so excruciating. And I don't take any drugs. I try not to. And it was the first time where I was like, I need pain medication. And like, I called my doctor, like crying, Walgreens crying. And it was just, I was like, okay, I just got to get the surgery. So, and it was 2 years of fighting, having surgery and trying every method, you know, chiropractic, massage, you name it. And so I remember laying in the hospital bed and just I was by myself and I just stared up to the ceiling and I honestly prayed to God. I was like, if you can just fix my back, I will never let this happen to my body again, and I will take care of my body as best as I can. And only by the grace of God, I woke up that day from surgery and I stood up, and it was the first time in probably 10 years I stood up and didn't have back pain. And I was just so excited. And so those moments now in time, that was over a year ago now, those moments in time that I don't want to go to the gym, or I feel lazy, or I feel sad or pissed, whatever it is, I literally just go back to that and remember, look, choose your hard, man. Do you want to have a really bad back injury and sit on your butt and not be able to do that? Or do you want to just go to the gym and do something hard for an hour? And so that's kind of been my way of, you know, battling through the weak moments in time, because it's hard in business. You know, we travel, we have work to do, we have families, we have a lot going on. So my one non-negotiable every day now, whether it's here or my condo gym or just running or doing exercise at a park, no matter what, I exercise every day. You know, different levels to it, you know, and classes are obviously a little more intense than, say, me working out at my gym at home. But it's still movement. We talk about movement all the time and how important that is. And so really, I know that was a very long-winded answer to your question, but it was a process of really kind of trusting in God, trusting in myself, and holding myself accountable every day to keep doing what I'm doing as best that I can. Cool. All right.
Well, you look great, man.
Thanks. So do you guys, man.
He was looking a little different after that spine surgery. You gotta have that before and after picture.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was, but I remember just being so miserable because like I had always worked out, and like when you're injured, you know, in your spine especially, like you can work out for like a week straight, nothing, and then you just bend over to dry your legs in the shower, you know, and your back goes like that, and then you're out for a week, man. And it was just never being able to stay consistent, and it was just really, I'll never do that again.
It compounds. It gets worse.
Yeah.
I had, a similar situation where I would get numbness and the pain all the time, and then numbness, and then not always understand exactly what it was I just did that made that happen.
Yeah.
And if you give into that, it compounds. Next thing you know, you're just chilling, playing Xbox, and you're 50 pounds heavier than you were.
Yeah.
It's much easier to lose it than it is to get it. It's like,
I'd say the other. I think it's much easier to get fat. Cookies are delicious.
get in shape. Get in shape is much harder than it is.
I thought we were talking about
when you
Whataburger.
you can work out hard. You can work out hard and get fit, and then take a month off and gain 15 pounds like that, man. Like
I've gone through
nothing.
that a couple of times.
Yeah.
I want to hear, as the owners of these gyms, what are some of your favorite moments with some of our, and you can't use me, I know all of them are, I'm your favorite.
You
but,
can use me. Go ahead.
but just something that, it could be something funny, something serious that has happened in this gym that you from that, the result was better community and closeness. And
I wish I could tell you all the names, but I can tell you my favorite moments that I wish I could see more of.
Okay.
It makes me so happy when I see a veteran walk up to the newbie and just say, "Hey, name's Logan. You new to the class? Come join me for the back squats."
Nice.
Right? That brings me so much joy, because I'm like, wow, a person actually, that member that I have there really cares about that new person walking there, because they remember when they walked in the door, they might have not have had that, and they're in that one station and they're listening to the coach and they work out and they go home and they didn't have any interaction. So having the support of our members to invite a new member to come on in, though, that is what makes me smile.
I think to piggyback on that is that interaction is so powerful.
Very much
like and that's part of the community that you've cultivated through the years. And because if somebody walks in and they're just getting over an injury and they put on a lot of weight and they're just like, we talk about it, they need to start somewhere. And if somebody, I remember walking up to somebody in this gym and it was their first time and just saying hello. It wasn't even, "Hey, good job," or anything, but just the fact that sometimes somebody just saying hi in a gym changes the perspective like that, man.
But I'm bringing this up because we talked about this last time, and it was so consistent of members doing that before COVID. We have such a massive cultural shift, and this part really hurts and kills me to see the fact that there's so much isolation. I can't get certain people to just be a little bit more open, just enjoy the environment, enjoy the class, enjoy the new people on in, communicate with each other. Even when before COVID, we did team workouts. It was easy. People connected, worked out, boom, had a great time. Now, it's like so much harder to get people to be on a team. And when they finish, let's say we do like my team finisher, right? Sometimes they'll put a group together, they literally do the finisher, boom, they walk away. They don't, not even a fist bump, nothing. And I know, because I've literally experimented. Let me go ask if they even know each other's names. They don't even ask, none of them asked. And these are not like middle schoolers, high schoolers. These are full grown adults that work in the corporate world and they don't even have the ability to communicate with each other.
I think I've noticed that I feel, and I think you hit it spot on, before COVID and after COVID, or I don't know if that was like the transition point, or maybe social media has changed things as well, but people are a lot more self-conscious in general. And so as a consequence, people don't want to put themselves out there and introduce themselves just proactively really anymore. A lot of people that I notice working out, they're working out kind of individually, or even if they're doing the group workout, it's almost like I'm doing this individually. They don't want to share equipment. They don't want to interact with each other. They're maybe
I have a
taping
confession.
themselves.
I'm sorry to interrupt
No.
you. I have a confession, man. Because it just triggered.
He was the one that left all the weight on the
No.
machine.
So, like, I remember when I first started working out here, you're like, come take the class. I'm like, no, I'm too powerful. No. And then I'd be over there, watching you guys taking a pee. I'd be up there looking, and I'm just like, stupid class. And finally, I got brave enough to do it, man. And it just, but it is so funny what you say. You kind of, when you're on the gym side and not on the class side, you kind of become your own little worst enemy, in my opinion, man. And so for me, interaction is huge. It's really, really important to me. And you brought up a topic, and I want to talk to you about. I want to get your feedback, because we've spoken about this a lot. I think after COVID, we lost sight of physical connection. Like, everybody was on Zoom, everybody was on Snapchat, everybody was on IG and communicating through words and video. And I think we talked a lot about the authenticity of losing that physical connection, and being in business. For me, I'll just use this very simple example. When I meet with somebody face to face, it is immensely harder for that person to say no to me. But I promise you, on a Zoom call or on a phone call or on a text message or an email, it's really easy to just go no, and
It's not as personal.
it's not. And if you notice in messaging, sometimes people take a simple sentence and they will translate it as something completely different. And I think that's the lost art of communication now. Like, because if you say something now, they hear your tone, they see your body language and how you're responding, and so they know exactly what you're saying. Okay. And if there is confusion, it can be cleared up right there. Whereas I remember writing a sentence to an ex-girlfriend. She's like, you don't love me. And I'm like, no, I'm not saying that, dude. I just don't want to go with you tonight. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on how the connection's been lost, but I feel like it's starting to come back. And I feel like there is an exhaustion when it comes to social media, because I don't really think most of what's on social media is very authentic and real. And with AI now changing that, I mean, it's even more difficult to understand and decipher what's real and what's fake.
Can we all agree that social media is completely fake?
Oh, completely.
Yes.
It is not reality.
Except this YouTube channel.
I mean, it just is sort of.
This is very real.
It's an idealized picture of what we want people to see. I'll take the picture in exactly the right way. No, that's not it. Try it again. Oh, that's not it. Let me put a filter on it. Oh, there we go. Okay, and it's not the authentic bump into somebody and and the talk. It's just not real.
So bouncing off of what Neeley just said, so imagine that is actually happening in class, where the person is taking a picture by themselves, and it's mentally more important for them to get that picture on social media than the actual human interaction of the people that you're currently around for that 1 hour.
Kick them out of class.
You got a photo bomb.
If we kick them out of class, we literally will have no business.
Everybody does it.
That's where I have to
I'm gonna
apologize.
start
Say I
doing
was in the
that.
back of your picture. If you lose followers, my
My
bad.
bad.
I mean, there's been a massive decline. Like, we all know, we've all seen it since COVID.
Yeah.
It's like that's that great shift. And then social media took over because everybody's at home. And sadly, this next generation of kids and teens are just on social. And you guys are hitting the point around the thing is that there's no interaction anymore. And somebody's text message can be translated in a million different ways. And for some reason, because of all the negativity going on, most of the time, they rather translate into a negative thing than a positive thing. You kind of said it, you clear it up with just interaction. And we see it in the gym all the time. And I think this is the best part of this podcast, is to get everybody to understand that you yourself need to make the change. Okay, we need to get back to being we are social animals.
Yes.
Okay, we are built in our core, and that also, when we're isolated, that's when we're getting mentally sick across the board.
100%.
In the gym provides the basis for you to change your life, and then start that interaction. So if somebody takes one thing out of this entire podcast, is that when you come into the gym, just say hi to somebody. Come work out next to me. You don't have to work out with the same barbell or the same equipment. Just come work out next to me. It's going to make you yourself also feel better as a human being. And then the impact, that small impact, and you have all said it, and all of you started broken in our gyms, which is the biggest thing to give back, is you guys had interactions with people. You did it after COVID, right? So anybody can do it. It's the fact is, you just have to make that conscious effort. All right, I'm coming to rebuild myself, but one of the aspects is the mental aspect, which is come talk to somebody. Okay, come into the gym and be like, hey, how are you doing? My name's Storm. Come work out next to me. Okay, because it is going to affect you in such a positive way. But we need to convey that.
Because we see what we're looking
the
for.
Masses. Whether they don't realize it, but that is that interaction that they want. Because we can all support each other on the basis of, that was a hard workout.
Yeah, that's.
I had a grind. Lifting weights, it burns. Okay, I'm out of breath. Okay, but it's a common ground to start the grassroots of connections. Okay, whether it's just a daily connection, a business connection, or a friend connection over time. So I think that's the main thing that we got to really push out there.
Yeah, I think you made a really good point. When you isolate, that is the beginning of the end, guys. Like, for your own mental health, if you isolate it, and I'm just as guilty. I work from home. Like, I don't have to go anywhere. I can do everything from my place, dude, including working out. But getting out and exposing myself to the public, whether it's walking around a mall, going to a movie, going to a park, going to the gym, that interaction socially it's really important, man. It really is important. And I've been saying this since COVID. I'm like, everybody needs to get off their screens. Like, and I see what it's doing to young kids too, man. And it's just, man, with all due respect, social media is very addictive, man. And I think I read something that this generation, is it Gen Z? The younger
I don't even know where we're at these days.
Yeah.
I'm not even paying attention. It's like, we're just humans. Who cares?
They were saying that this is the first generation right now that is not as smart as their parents. They're less intelligent. And for the last, I don't know how many hundreds of years, every generation, you get a little smarter, a little stronger. And that's the evolution, typical evolution. And the fact that we have stagnant growth in our youth it's pretty scary, because these kids are going to run our country one day, man. They're going to be doctors and lawyers, and you can't sit here and go, I'm triggered, I'm not doing surgery today. It's like, and that's a little extreme what I'm saying, but it's really what happened from COVID, and it's a symptom of the lack of social interaction, man. I think losing it, and man, the screens, to me, oh my goodness, man, that is like, I feel like social media has turned into like Satan's little toy to mess with all of us, dude. And it's like, and it's really easy to get caught up into it, man. And it's especially kids, man.
I have 3 of them, so I have kind of an interesting thought on that, because my kids are about to be 16, 15, and 5. So. Oh, the little one still likes me, so it's good.
Still got one.
She's awesome.
I wasn't done. I had to get an extra one in.
The older ones, they'll come back. I would step in front of a bus for them, but they typically don't like me until the Wi-Fi goes down. And they're like, "Come on, Dad, you could do it." Or they need money or something heavy moved.
In touch with that.
New car.
New car.
They're in.
Pay for education.
And you have young kids as well. So the reality is, screens are it's part of our reality as we know it. They're not going anywhere. They're going to get more ubiquitous. They're going to show up everywhere. You know, what we grew up with, you know, I'm old enough to remember pre-computers and pre-internet, and, you know, Go Play was a thing, right? But then even in the evolution, we had a TV that was a TV. We had a phone that was only a phone. And we, you know, and these things, now all the devices are moving towards, it's one device that does kind of all of those things.
Camera, phone.
And so the idea that I'm going to like separate my kids from that because it's not what I know I don't think it's super healthy. But at the same time, ask my older daughters, one of the reasons that they don't like me is they don't have social media. No Facebook, no Instagram, no X, no, you know, none of that, because it is not real. I think it's hard enough. All my kids are all girls. I've never been a 16-year-old girl, but it's probably hard enough to be a kid in this, and especially in South Florida where everything can feel so superficial. So I think there's a balance that needs to be achieved there, because they're not necessarily completely removed from reality. It's just a reality that's different from what we know. And the fix, I don't think, is going to be put that away forever. It's going to be, how do we find a way to create balance? It's like any other addiction. How do you teach your kids to say no, and how do you teach them to put it down and create that balance for themselves?
I think a lot of that too is being present in a moment. It's so important, man. Like, because if you could be sitting outside at a park and watch a beautiful bald eagle land on a tree, and you're sitting there staring at your phone, and that might happen once in your lifetime if you're lucky.
But that is a weekend basis. So when I go, I have a 3 and 4 year old. 4 and 5 year old. When I'm going to the playground, no interaction with any parents. All the parents are sitting down on the bench with their phones, and some, not all, just some of the kids have the phone in their hand while they're running around on the playground.
God help us.
That kills me.
That's part of that balance. Put it down. Like when you eat too, right? You sit down for a family, you put the phone down. You know, put that away. Right? It's just, you don't need.
Back in the day, it was turn off the TV. Like, no, it's dinner time. It's family time. You
no
sit
phone
down,
after
no
8
TV's
o'clock.
on.
Remember that?
It's the same aspect.
You're younger than that. But like my parents would be like, get off the phone. It's 8 o'clock. It's time to go to bed.
Our phone was attached to the wall. It was in the middle of the house, so it was real easy to get off the phone.
I remember.
I love how these guys think like we're like 16.
Just him, man.
We still had the phone with the cable. My parents had the black brick inside of their one car, right? We remember the pager, the cassette, the CD player. We remember going to Blockbuster and getting your cassette tape.
You're not that young. Okay, we'll give that to you, man. We'll give it to you.
You see how he took that personally? I didn't say anything about Logan.
This is a mental health show. Okay? I need to release some of this, all right?
Right now.
He's feeling triggered.
I didn't say anything about Logan.
Triggered him, man.
We triggered you, man. That's funny shit.
Went after the kids.
Oh, man. Well, let me ask you this, guys. Like, when I've asked you this on the previous show, like, I think our gym community, I think it would be, and I see the women doing it. Like, all the women kind of get together and they have little events outside of here. I think what would be really great here is doing like once a month, like just the guys, like it could be a tournament. It could be just, a workout. It could be, something like that where we just kind of engage and then have something social afterwards. And I think having that kind of connection, because you're doing what you love to do and exercising, and also if it's something specific to a man once a month to engage and build that camaraderie, I think it would be very beneficial to all of us, really. I mean, I think it's something that you should consider. I mean, I'm not telling you what to do, but
So maybe
you actually have like don't you have like the food truck outside of the Pines gym? And
we've had
after
food
workouts
trucks and people to hang out. Well, we have picnic tables and stuff. So basically after workouts, that's like the hangout area. Pine Gym is obviously an older gym. I mean, that was our original baby.
So much better.
But it's kind of cool that they, just like here, they get groups that go outside. Same thing over there. Like we have a 5:15 p.m. class, and 5 a.m. class. They have their own group basically. Okay, it's men and women. It's not just like husbands and wives, but because they work out together, they sweat together, they grind together, they see each other every day. They're actually getting out and actually doing something. It's fallen off a little bit over after COVID. Like I said, there's such a big distinction there, but it is starting to come back. Like we see that. So it's really just helping that push back to that reality and fostering it right now. That's kind of the big thing. And by doing events like that, 100%.
Yeah, I think also you've done kids camps in the past in summertime. I think getting kids at a young age and getting them involved in physical activities and being around other kids and having a good time while they're exercising, I think is really important. You know, I have a daughter and I have a son. I have a son who was an athlete his entire life. So he learned how to deal with failure and he learned how to be resilient and to work hard and, you know, never get too high, never get too low. And it's fascinating because my daughter was just happy, you know, just a little butterfly. She's just carefree and God, I love her. And I look at it and I'm like, very determined. He works really hard, knows what he wants, and she's good. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll pay my bills if I have money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, as a type A guy, I'm like, that drives me crazy, man. Like, do you need me to pay your rent or not? Yeah. How about your kids?
My son actually, he started doing personal training here. Back when he was 13, he took some, so that was his first, he was always very curious seeing me work out at the gym a lot. So he said, hey Dad, I'm kind of interested in just learning, you know, about weights and weightlifting and that kind of thing. So he actually started doing some personal training here with one of the coaches for for about a couple of months. And then from there, he went back to his school year started again. And now in high school, he's actually doing a weightlifting class. So that is to say that I think for me at least, I've hopefully provided a little bit of a template for my son to sort of look at and say like, okay, I'm kind of interested in this because Dad's doing it. And it's something that he and I have in common. My daughter is probably very similar to your daughter in the sense she's not expressed any interest really in.
She likes yoga.
Yeah, she's
no offense.
Physically very her physical pursuits are very different. But yeah, so that's been a good entry point for him.
Yeah,
I've seen the most well socialized kids lately are the ones that are either in a sport because they're learning failure, right? Okay, there's adversity, okay, and you have to work through it. Nothing's handed to you. And I think that social media kind of boasts and pushes the other aspect, which is, just do this and you're gonna be a millionaire. Okay? Here's the easy way out to
get it quick.
Get fit quick. Build mass quick. Nothing's ever quick.
Right,
like there's always work and effort. I mean, that's what life is. But the ones that I see that the parents right now, okay, especially dads, right, and they're doing, well, it's dads and moms, but we'll talk about the dads. They're doing workouts, and then their kids are going just like your son. Like they get interested, like, okay, no, my dad's in shape compared to all the other dads in the lines. You know what? I respect my dad a little more. I'm going to ask my dad for advice now about what is the next step. And then the ones that get into, they don't do sports, but they just do weightlifting, right? Okay, and then that gives them a lot more confidence, self-confidence, being able to talk and interact with a coach because that's critiquing. So it doesn't have to be an actual true sport, just fitness in general. And having that coach figure, but then having your mom or dad doing it, I mean, it makes more of an impact than people realize. And I've noticed at the social level, okay, that is really helping a lot of this new generation coming up. But the ones that aren't, I'm seeing a completely different aspect.
It's definitely a struggle. I think
I blame the parents. I blame the parents.
So we're going to speak the truth. Yes.
Well, I mean,
it's just reality. I'm saying so, right? So Storm and I are from a certain generation. Our parents had us on multiple different sports. You can't if you wanted to watch TV, it was going to be 30 minutes. And it was going to be a little house on the prairie. Right? You have a 5-acre property. Get on out. right? And I don't know who said it and started it with choose your hard. My parents chose hard, right? They were not going to choose the easy way and just literally give us everything, and then here you go, and we become brain dead. It's parents' fault.
Yeah.
It needs to be
And,
brought up because it's the truth.
Yeah.
With my son, at least, for me, telling him what to do versus actually exhibiting the behavior, and I never told him anything about like, oh, I think you should lift or work out or whatever. He was just seeing me being committed, and then that was behavior that he wanted to emulate versus me telling him to do it. So parents also have to.
Kids are listening.
Kids are
They're observant.
much smarter than we give them
Absolutely.
credit for. And they, you know, I watched my dad every morning get up at 5 a.m. and go to work. He had to be at work at 5:45 every day. And he was always on time, never missed a day. If he was sick, he would go. And I was like, well, if my dad can do it 2 hours earlier than when I go to school, and you know, so you kind of, as a kid, you mimic what you see. You know, so if you see healthy behavior like you, more than likely your kids are going to do the same thing.
Exactly.
You know?
My dad got me through SAR school.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about that in we, you know, my dad was the same guy. He's my rock. Always showed up for his family like that. Worked with his body, worked hard, and provided for us. And you know, and so that was kind of my baseline. And then I remember the day that I showed up to SAR school it was a rough day. You know, I was in my head quite a bit in terms of like, this is going to be the hardest damn thing I've ever done. What am I even doing here? Like, can I make this? You know, there's no oceans in Plainfield, you know, Indianapolis. Not a lot of them anyway.
And swimming pools.
Yeah, my grandma had a 4-foot above ground swimming pool. You know, and I was a diver also in the 6th grade.
Look at you now.
So right, you know, my little Speedo. But so I show up, and then that first day was an eye opener of this thing that I knew was going to be really, really hard. Is now it's real. You know, it's the gauntlet, and that you got 5 minutes before it's time to go. You know, and I was in my head in that's the mindset of like, oh God, can I even do this? And as I walked past a guy on a payphone, you know what a payphone is, right?
Like a little quarter. Yeah, you put quarters inside, right?
It's attached on the wall. Yeah. They had
in a booth.
So the guy's on the phone, and I knew that he was a SAR school student, but I didn't know him. And all I heard him say was, "Dad, I quit today." And I overheard him say that. And in that moment, I went from, I don't know if I can do this, self-doubt, fear, right? Because anytime we're afraid, it's coming from one of two places. We either don't know and we're afraid of that, or we do know and we know that what we're getting into is going to be difficult. So for me, it was mostly the fear of how hard is this thing going to be? But it flipped on its head. In a moment, it went from,
Isn't that fascinating?
I don't know if I can do
Hearing one
this,
thing.
to I will friggin' die in that pool before I quit. I will never quit, because there's no way in hell I'm making that call to my dad to say, hey, it was really hard today. You know, a lot of swimming and a lot of running, and then they yelled at me, and then I had to do a uniform inspection, and then I had to keep running, and then they wanted me to swim a mile, and
That's what Logan does to me.
you know, no way, right? So I credit to my dad. I've told him to his face, and as a kid, we're always listening, right?
Yeah.
So who's going to fix this next generation?
That was going to be my question to everybody. Literally, you read my mind. Like, if you had the power to, and I want everybody to answer this question because I've got a very distinct answer for this question. If you had the power to make a specific change to allow kids or this next generation growing up the opportunity to live a healthy life and not being exposed to, they're exposed to so much information now, like literally at their fingertips. They can find the answer to anything. And I think it's real easy to get distracted by all of that information, you know. And how many kids sit here? Oh, what are you looking at?
I'm listening.
Oh, how many kids will just sit there and swipe all day, just watch the little videos, and I do it too, man. Like, I look up, 40 minutes just passed, and I'm like,
No.
never getting that back, man.
No.
So I'm going to start with you. What would you do if you could do anything for the next generation? Say you had the power to, is it getting rid of social media? Is it putting the amount of time? Is it banning certain videos? Is it making exercise more of a requirement like it was 25 years ago in school? I mean, or is it a combination of everything?
So first and foremost, I was homeschooled. So my life was very different, but I'm going to do the best I can, and I don't know I'll be right, but I will do the same thing my parents, how they raised me.
Okay.
On what you guys just mentioned about you guys viewed your parents is the same way that I view my mom and my dad. They're both hardworking people. My mom was basically working double time because she has 3 homeschool boys and she has a whole lot to do. Take care of the house, take care of the boys, take care of the sports, take care of so much finances. I'm saying my mom did it all.
And nursing.
And
Nursing too.
And I feel like a huge aspect of why fitness was such a huge part of my life. Yes, my parents had plenty of times. They both got extremely fat, but they switched and got back themselves in shape. And both of our parents are in their 70s and they're kicking ass. So when I look at that and I see my 4 and 5-year-old, I'm like, I need to do the same. I'm going to not allow them to watch a tremendous amount of TV. I'm going to choose hard and I'm going to do my best at it. They're not going to get everything that they want. Storm and I were basically the generation where participation medals became a huge part of every sport. And why did people do it? Oh, it made parents happy because the kid was happy to be able to get a participation medal. And so they get a smile when they go home and they don't have to deal with the consequences of losing. I remember that whole aspect. I know that was slightly off topic, but the whole thing is I'm gonna do my best, and so is my wife, to there's things are gonna be hard. I want them to experience losing more than winning, because especially Storm and I being business owners, our greatest moments were not the wins. It was the more losses you have, the more you grow and learn. And I don't want my kids to live in a world where they're winning, because if they're winning, then
You're not trying.
you just turn off.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
Yeah. I think it's a really good point. I mean, kids, a lot of kids today, not all.
And I don't know if I'm gonna be right.
No, I think you're spot on, actually. I mean, I see it firsthand. I mean, and as soon as it gets a little hard, because everything is so easy now, when we talk about everything's at a fingertip. So as soon as it gets a little hard, they're like, ooh, I don't think I can do this, especially physically. Like, I see that, because it is fun to play video games. It is fun to look at social media. It's attention. It gives you the attention to something that isn't you. And I think we need to do a better job of policing that as parents, or the next generation parents, and making sure that kids are outside a lot more, man. Like, I really think about what sunshine does for your body, man, and exercise, and interacting with other kids. You do it all outside, man, and that, I guarantee you, a kid's gonna have a great day if he's doing that, man. Whereas we live in a society today where we lock our kids in an education center that looks like a jail, feels like a jail, okay, and they're literally sitting there, and how much are they really retaining now? And I think it's kind of the evolution of how the education system works, because there is nothing that we can't learn on a computer right now, man. Like, literally, I could learn everything we need to know about history. I can. And we have to find kids that want to learn, though, and get them to a point where, like, man, I want to understand this. I want to go down this rabbit hole and learn about this specific item. And I think that's the lost art. There's not a ton of curiosity anymore. And if it is, it's for like random stuff that you find on social media. Like,
It's literally a rabbit hole.
yeah, for sure. What do you think?
Well, I think we have to be honest about that. Everybody has a lens,
Mhm.
and everybody's lens is going to be individual to their experience, and so everybody's worst thing is going to be their worst thing, right? And somebody's worst thing may be that they watched dad murder mom, and or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe the worst thing is going to be that they just didn't quite get along with their mom as much as they wish they could. But that's still their worst thing.
Mhm.
So I think we have to kind of start with a baseline of that. And I agree with letting my kids fail. Not necessarily struggle more than they need to, but letting them fail for sure. And I give a tremendous amount of credit to my wife, because she's the first one. When my girls are not feeling so good, Ashley will ask them, well, did you eat? Did you go outside? Have you done anything physical today? Did you sleep?
Mm-hmm.
And so she starts hitting these things about like, okay, well, until you've done those things, if you're still feeling bad, then come back.
Yeah.
And so she's kind of helped build that baseline in them of, have you done all these things?
Yeah.
I wish if I had some sort of magic wand, I would the first thing I would do would be to remove all of the predators that hide in like roadblocks and all of these people that are there to prey specifically on
Kids,
children who don't know any better and feel like they do because they have the whole world in their hand. I wish I could remove that. So I would definitely shake that, wave that wand and make that disappear. But I agree. I think my kids have to fail. I have to let them fail. I have to let them know what that feels like, because, I mean, what we're really saying is when they fail, it's really, what do you do with that?
How do you respond?
If you're waiting for somebody to swoop in and pick you up and save you, that's not very realistic.
Yeah. I think that's the hardest thing about being a parent is
letting your kid fall and not
letting a kid
immediately
fall
swoop in.
and not jump in and rescue them. And I remember distinctly with my son as a baseball player, I watched him fail miserably, and I watched his coach like ream him, and like he was militant with the kids. And as a dad, I sat there and I was like, all I wanted to do was go punch the coach and go grab my kid out of the game and move on. But at the end of the day, it taught my son the responsibility of what he's doing out there. It's a competitive nature, and understanding that just because you fail once doesn't mean you can't overcome that and go forward. And I think, honestly, I think we should require every kid to play a sport, man, so they can learn a team sport at that, because people are depending on you for a job to do. And you're going to go through failures, wins and losses, and highs and lows. And I think that is very much a foundational piece. And we said this on the last podcast. When I hire people for my companies, one of the first questions I ask, or two questions I always ask. One, are you curious? Because if you're curious and there's a problem, you'll figure it out, or you'll try to figure it out at least. And you'd be amazed how many people won't even try to figure out the problem. They just assume I don't know it, and I'm not going to. And then the second thing is I always ask them, did you play sports? Because sports, like we said, it teaches you, to lose. It teaches you to be competitive, and it gives you the foundational piece of like the grit that you need for this real world out there. And I don't know. I mean, what do you think?
No, I mean, I could for everyone's obviously navigating their own parent sort of journey, and my kids are 14 and 12, so they did grow up on screens and that kind of thing, because phones were relatively new and smartphones were new when they were small. So we're in the process of trying to figure out like how do we reverse some of these behaviors that have already been established, and within their generation, they're very much deep into social media, deep into Roblox, deep into all this sort of things.
Wow, Roblox.
So it's a little bit like, what are the three foundational, I guess, principles we can impart upon our kids? I think you guys already mentioned this stuff, like being in tune with your physical self, I think is the foundation, like understanding how to develop that sense of grit, how to develop the sense of completing something once you start it. How do you work through pain? The second thing is developing a sense of like resourcefulness, which I think translates to entrepreneurialism, or even taking control of your own career if you choose to work in a corporation or that sort of thing. Like being a resourceful, independent thinker, somebody who can research information, especially in an age of AI, where people are going to be able to access information at a much more rapid rate. How can you be unique in your thinking, and how can you be resourceful and take that information and actually act upon it? And then the third thing is being able to complete things, which again starts with that sort of lesson you learn when you're learning exercise and all that sort of stuff. If you're going to start something, what are you going to do to complete it, or cut your losses and move on to the next thing? But I feel like kids right now have such short attention spans, again, because of social media. If they're not instantly good at something, if they're not instantly gratified by it, they want to move on to the next thing. So if I could somehow impart those 3 lessons to every child, I think we'd be in a better place.
Let me ask you something, Mr. Techie.
Yeah, I work in social media, by the way, so I can't.
I didn't say it. I said tech. Okay. Do you think AI is going to make us dumber?
I think AI.
That's a trick question.
No.
Yeah.
AI is going to accelerate. It's going to create more opportunities for people who can act upon those opportunities, and it's going to cause a lot of people to also fall behind. It's a magnifier of people's skills.
Okay.
It's the same as maybe a generation ago when people got access to computers. Yeah. The existential crisis back then was, people are going to become so dumb they're not going to be able to do math, or they're not going to be able to read because computers can do everything.
Kids can't do math.
And you're right. But
worse.
I am seeing, again, in my kids' generation, some kids doing remarkable stuff using the power of AI.
Yeah.
Learning things on their own, being able to accelerate their learning. If you're actually interested in certain topics, you can go obviously very deep. So AI is not going to help dumb people. It's not going to help lazy people. AI is just going to replace those people. But if you're a resourceful, proactive person, AI is going to accelerate and expand your capabilities. So it's got
AI is coming for your gym.
Coming for your gym. I was actually talking to Logan about this. I actually don't think AI is going to replace the human connection that coaches and trainers provide, which I think is a lot of the reason that people are members of gyms. There are, of course, the component of people that just want to come in and go in, do their workout, and then leave. But I think you're always going to want that human interaction.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of stuff out there that, AI can certainly make it more efficient and more effective. But there is the human element that you got to keep, I believe. We live in a day and age of a whole shitload of data. And people will sit there and they will mine data all day long. And they'll forget the whole piece. With that data, you're building a beautiful plan, but they forget how to execute on the plan.
What do you do? Yeah.
It's you can make the most beautiful business plan for me, but if we don't have the money to execute on that plan, it's just a really pretty PowerPoint presentation. Right. And I hope, as AI comes along, it will kind of teeter that off, and it will allow people to go and execute on the plan.
Correct.
Because it will help build a plan based on the data, and it'll be efficient and it'll be hopefully effective. And then you find the right people to go out and execute.
Yeah. I don't think it can replace, I sincerely hope it doesn't ever replace the spark.
Yeah.
The human idea, the willingness and that need to explore what could be, and the power of the possible, of all these things that might be out there. I think what can I do and how can I do it differently? And then AI is a tool, right? But it's a tool like anything else.
Right.
Of how can I do what I want to do better?
Yeah. Do you guys ever feel like when you use AI, you're cheating?
No.
No? You don't?
I view it exactly how Peter just said it, right? I'm saying either you are the tool, or you're going to use the tool. Same thing as social media, right? You're the user, or you can use it. Yeah. So if you're conscious and aware of it, then you're golden. But if you're not being conscious every single time you're using it, then you are the user and you are the tool.
So for me, just a business standpoint, it's I'll see beautiful letters in an email, but I'll know the person, and I'm like, no way you wrote that, man.
Yeah.
No way.
The AI slop.
It kind of pisses me off because I'm an excellent writer, but but I'm like, They don't need my skills anymore.
My daughter is really struggling with this right now.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter is a very creative, loves to write, loves to create. And right now she's really struggling because she's at that point in her life where she's starting to think about, what do I want to be when I grow up?
Mm-hmm.
But she's staring down the barrel of AI going, well, these AI can create a book and can create a magazine article, or it can create it just like that, and it can make whatever, so where does that leave me and my creativity? And
it's funny.
I feel I struggle for her.
Yeah, funny you say that. And I'm in the middle of writing a book right now, and when I talk to my editor, all they do with what I write is they drop it into AI and they fix it all.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, of course.
and I'm like, well, I really like that verb I used there, and the description that I put. But it's really fascinating. Like, you could write a book pretty quick with AI, man.
I actually, so it's interesting. So at the company I work with, we talk a lot about how, so for example, AI can create technically more beautiful art than any human can ever create.
Yep.
At like where we're at right now. But at the end of the day, humans still value art that's created by other people.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And music.
You're never going to, and music and film and books, because at the end of the day, what you value when it comes to art or when it comes to anything that's created by another human is the effort that was put into it.
Agreed.
Or the spirit that went into creating it, the experience that person had. And so the interesting thing is that AI can help refine things. It can help clarify things or whatever. And that's been going on. There's been book editors and sort of like all that sort of stuff for centuries.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if there's not a human that put effort and a struggle and a story into creating that piece of art, it's not going to be as valuable.
Yeah.
And so that's why, in my view, AI created art, AI created books, and all that sort of stuff will never be as good as something that. So I think your daughter.
I gotta get slightly nerdy.
Yeah.
I gotta get slightly nerdy. So that's the power of one part of the blockchain. Because if we're gonna go down that road, we can actually use the NFT to identify when something was actually made by a real human and when something was done by AI.
Right.
And by you being an artist and being able to have a legitimate contract that can never be changed. So when that person wants to sell that art to someone else, you actually know it was truly made by a human being.
Yep.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah. Well, listen, we could do this all day, guys. I really enjoy doing this, man. But I want to thank everybody for watching today. If this is your first time, please subscribe, like, and share. Men on a Mission is on a mission to help other men get through this crazy life that we live in every day and hopefully help you guys. So I want to say thank you to everybody here. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank
We gotta
you.
do
Thanks for
it again
having
soon.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah.
Have a great day. Everyone take care.
Thank you.